Good evening, Milwaukee Bucks fans. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This special edition, of course, as we did a couple days ago. Welcome to the Brew City Lounge. We're here on a special post-game show. What a great evening. What a great night. I'm so glad you guys are tuning in. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. Live on Facebook, live on Twitter, live on YouTube. All that is so much appreciated. Thank you guys for tuning in. Adam, how's it going? Thank you for tuning in. Bucks fans, Bucks game is currently still going on, but I had to jump on early. I wanted to beat the Miami Heat fans out of the arena and get on the show a little bit early. If you haven't been paying attention, the Miami Heat fans are currently leaving the arena a little early, so I wanted to beat them to the punch. I know they're tuning in. I know my buddies over there on Locked On Heat are definitely tuning in, so thank you guys for tuning in. A monster victory for the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, the game is still closing out here in the final few minutes of the game, and it just went final. Your Milwaukee Bucks, our Milwaukee Bucks, win Game 3, go up 3-0 against the Bubble Guppies, the fake Miami Heat, 113-84. The Milwaukee Bucks take a commanding, dominating, punishing 3-game lead over the Miami Heat. Game 4 will be Saturday, early afternoon. I believe that tip-off is 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. Want to go over a little bit of a game recap for you guys if you are tuning in. Again, thank you. I am your host. As you catch me every Tuesday and Friday on the Brew City Lounge, I am your host, Brandon. Follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. As always, please follow the show. Subscribe on YouTube or Twitter and Facebook at Brew City Pod. So much appreciated. Thank you guys for tuning in for the special edition of the Brew City Lounge. Again, after each Bucks game, I will host a post game. And if you are out there watching, first off, thank you. And secondly, if you ever want to jump on here and talk some Bucks with me, all you got to do is let me know. I'm all ears. I'm ready to have you on, and we can celebrate another Bucks victory. Jake, thank you for tuning in on YouTube. He drops another comment. Bring on the Nets. I think that's where we're at, man. I'm excited, just as excited as you guys are right now. We'll get into our thoughts of the game. I do want to go a quarter by quarter with this game because it was a very interesting game. Now, the score, yes, very, very, indicative that the Milwaukee Bucks were dominant in this game, but it wasn't like that. It was kind of back and forth at the beginning. Bucks missed a couple big shots. Started off in that first quarter. The crowd got, obviously the Miami Heat were coming on. They were going to be loud. You were expecting that to happen. Again, after the post game on Tuesday, I told you guys that this Miami crowd is going to be into it. The Miami, for the most part, going back, early days of Dwayne Wade, the Miami crowd, it's been pretty good and it's been pretty supportive. So you knew the crowd was going to be into it. Kind of right away, it was not a game like it was in Game 3. The Bucks shot pretty bad in that first quarter. Only 29% from the 3-point range. Not much better from field goal range, shooting 35%. But nonetheless, it didn't matter. The Bucks ended that quarter up by 12, 26-14. A key opponent about that first quarter is you saw Jimmy Butler being guarded by Giannis. Now, previously, last year, particularly, Stephen A. Smith had called out Giannis for not guarding Jimmy Butler at the end of the game when Jimmy hit that game winner or whatever it was. But this year, you're seeing a little bit more adjustments from Mike Budenholzer against this Miami Heat team. And then you saw that Erik Spoelstra was going to make a move. He knew that he had to have some firepower in that starting lineup. Kendrick Nunn wasn't cutting it, so he did put in Goran Dragic in the starting lineup. It did not matter. You have the best two-way player in the NBA on him. Guys, I've been saying this since I started the show about a month and a half ago. Jrue Holiday, whatever you knew about Jrue Holiday before, I promise you, we, myself included, we didn't know enough about this Jrue Holiday. He is that dude. He is that guy. If the Lakers went out and traded for him, if Brooklyn went out and traded for him, heck, even if Miami went out and traded for him, that would have been the biggest move of the offseason because it's turned out to be the biggest move, I think, so far in the NBA. You can include the NBA playoffs. Jrue Holiday with another absolutely phenomenal game. 19 points and 12 assists, a goal along with 3 rebounds. He did play 34 minutes as expected. All the starters were in the mid-30s. So, again, credit to Bud. He's playing these guys. But back to the recap of the game in that first quarter. The key to that game was a good start. Obviously, you start off the game on the road is key. Getting that crowd out of that whatever momentum they can grab early in that game and whatever run or whatever energy you I said it before the game, you're going to have to withstand something coming from that Miami crowd. They're going to be into it. They're going to be lively. I think taking them out of the game early, going up 12-4, obviously put them a little bit, in their seats, to say the least. The Bucks did finish that quarter looking at a 12-point lead at 26-14. Thank you to my dad, Kendall. He drops a comment on YouTube. Appreciate you for tuning in. If you guys are tuning in, thank you. I do appreciate it. I see you guys dropping in and out. So thank you. Jumping into that second quarter, Bucks, they started off missing a lot of shots, and it was going to be, you knew a 12-point lead. First off, say what you want about Miami. Say what you want to say about them and their bubble success. Yes, we all know they're bubble guppies. We all know that they benefited from playing in the bubble. They're still a well-coached team. They weren't going to just lay down. They weren't going to just surrender to the Milwaukee Bucks and just give up. So you knew going into that second quarter, first off, the first thing you want to do is you want to get your offense going. You shot poorly in the first quarter. You want to finish off the first half on a good run. The Bucks, they kind of maintained, even keel in that second quarter. They only outscored the Miami Heat by 1 point in that second quarter, but that was okay because you ended that first quarter on a 12-point run, on a 12-point lead. So that was okay. Couple things that stuck out to me in that second quarter. Obviously, you missed a couple shots. A lot of them were wide open. Again, my keys to this game, if you follow me on Twitter or you follow the show on Twitter at Brew City Pod, one of my keys was guys have to hit their shots. Giannis is always going to draw a crowd. Guys have to hit their shots. So seeing them miss a couple shots early, getting into a couple minutes into that second quarter, they were still consistently missing. And then I looked at what is Miami doing differently. Obviously, stuck right out to me. They were in zone defense. So again, Eric Spoelstra is making an adjustment. What's Mike Budenholzer going to do to counter that? The Bucks teetered back and forth with Miami throughout that third quarter. They ended up going up, outscoring them by 1 point. I don't think I was not happy. I'll be honest with you guys. I was not happy with the way that the Milwaukee Bucks closed out that half. It felt like a half in which they should have been up by 30. Now they went into halftime up 49-36. Keep in mind, guys, I don't care who you are. Miami Heat were held to 36 points in a half of basketball at home in a do or die. That's not bad offense, ladies and gentlemen. That's not bad offense. For everybody out there, that's not bad offense. Some of it might be, not all of it. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying how bad Miami was and how, whatever, they're missing shots. That's good defense, guys. You're looking at a very, very good defense, a defense in which they struggled in the regular season, and we saw it, wide open shots. Their guys were right on. You were right on the hip of Duncan Robinson, whoever was on him. Dante, even though he left the game in the second quarter with a foot contusion, hopefully he's able to bounce back. You were able to see the adjustments defensively against this Miami Heat team. Guys weren't going under the screen. They were following him right on their hip. Goran Dragic didn't have many open looks. Jordan Andrew, thank you for jumping on. I do appreciate you jumping on Facebook. He drops a comment on the Facebook feed. Definitely could have done a better job closing up. I would have liked to see a 30-point difference. I'm with you. I thought that should have been probably the end of the half where you kind of, put your foot on their throats, so to speak. And it wasn't. And when they went up again, like I said, going up in that second half, going into halftime, up 13, you still kept the Miami Heat again, like I just said, within 36 points. It was a great effort defensively from the Milwaukee Bucks, and they were looking at different it was defenses. What Miami was going from man to zone and throwing in all kinds of different, faces and sets against the Milwaukee Bucks. And again, every time it felt like Miami was making a little bit of a run, making a little bit of a push, whoever it was for the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know the names right now. I can tell you a few off the top of my head, and I'll get to one in a minute. Every answer that they had for the Miami Heat was just a bigger answer than that Miami Heat run. Miami Heat would, make a 5-0, 3-0, 4-0, 6-0 run. The Bucks would counter right back, and it would just kind of close it out. It would sit that crowd back down, and it was just delightful to see, because as Bucks fans last year in the bubble, I don't think we got that glimpse of this Milwaukee Bucks team. They kind of, I don't want to say gave up, but it almost like they sat back down and kind of just, let it happen as it went on. So the Bucks do go into that half with a 13-point lead. Now the big question was coming out in the second half. Dante goes out with a foot contusion. I'm not saying Dante's a key piece to your team. Obviously, he's in the starting lineup. He's a guy you want, for depth purposes. He plays good, stingy defense. He's not going to give you 20, 25 points a game, but he's going to be there to get the loose balls. He does a good job on the offense and defensive rebounds. But seeing him go out, your question was like, okay, what's Bud looking at here? What's he going to look at as far as putting in Dante's spot? And then whoever he puts in Dante's spot, who's going to follow up with behind him? Well, we got our answer going into that second half, into that third quarter. Bryn Forbes got the start. And I said it in the previous tweet prior to the Bucks tipping off. One of my keys was offensive rebounds. Control the rebounds. Control the defensive rebounds, obviously. You don't want to give Miami easy second chance points. I think that's with a team that you're more talented than. And obviously the Milwaukee Bucks are at extremely more talented than this Miami Heat team. You didn't want to give early and easy points to the Miami Heat and let them creep back in there. And Miami was able to do that. They were able to grab those offensive boards. Now, into that middle of that third quarter, Miami did make a little bit of a run. He did. Eric Spoelstra did make certain adjustments offensively. He did get a lot more pick and pop action. He knew that, again, if you guys follow me on Twitter, and again, if you don't, follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. The Miami Heat setting the legal screen, I believe, every possession, and you could probably say 3 to 4 different times on that said possession. It's honestly pitiful by the NBA. They did call him a few times tonight, but it's every play. It just seems like that they're just rolling with these moving screens. And I know that the guys on TNT and First Take or whoever are saying that, well, they're doing it. They're finding a loophole into the rules. I don't care what they're doing. Watch the game, watch the rhythm of the game, watch the screens that these guys are setting. Their feet are moving, their hips are moving, their arms are moving, their elbows are moving. It's a completely illegal screen. I went on a rant after game 2, and obviously the NBA, that they don't care. It's whatever. The Bucks won big, so it's not something that changed the outcome of the game, but it could down the road. And you don't, especially with an injury. A guy rolls an ankle, it takes a hit pointer. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen with those moving screens. They are dangerous, and I wish the NBA would do something about it. J Dubs, thanks for dropping a comment. He drops a comment on Twitter. We need all hands on deck. So hopefully Dante is okay. I agree with Jay. I agree. Like, yes, it's not Giannis. Yes, it's not Drew, but it's still a vital piece to your team. Not offensively. Dante, like I said, Dante's not going to give you 30, not 30, but 20 points a game. But what he is going to do is he's going to be there as an energy guy. He is a loose ball guy. Yes, he drives us all nuts. We wish that we could see more out of Dante. In fact, we have seen more out of Dante. If Dante in the first part of the season would play to what he was then, we saw maybe a little bit of a motivated Dante DiVincenzo with the Bogdan Bogdanovic trade falling through. And I think he needs to recapture a little bit of what he was. Hopefully he's okay. I agree with J Dubs. He drops a comment on Twitter. Appreciate you tuning in, Jay. He drops a comment about Dante being important. Look, that 5-minute mark in that third quarter, and I wrote it down specifically, is because when you're on the road in the NBA playoffs, and everybody that watches the NBA games, knows that the crowd will play a point in any game, especially when you're down 2-0. Especially, look, game 3 was do or die for Miami. They're dead. I mean, they're dead. I don't want to say the Bucks are going to sweep. You know, Bucks historically suck during the day and playing day games, so they could slip up and lose that game 3 or game 4, excuse me, and go back home up 3-1. But nonetheless, that game 3, when a visiting team is down and they're at home and they're pretty much in a do or die situation, it's up to them. That crowd is everything to them. So going into that third quarter, you knew that this needed to be a third quarter. The third quarter would have been the most important quarter, in my opinion. I think opening up the first quarter, obviously you want to take the crowd right out of it. It's the same thing in that third quarter. Look, you're only going into halftime, going into that third quarter up 13 points. It wasn't going to be the end of the game by any stretch of the mind. Miami has shooters. Let's not forget that this team was in the NBA Finals last year. I do believe that they were, bubble, beneficiaries, but nonetheless, they were still there. They still hit shots. They're still good. They're still a good and well coached team. So we got to give them a little bit of credit where credit is due. So going into that third quarter, the end of that third quarter, getting to that close to the end in that 5-minute mark, you kind of felt a little bit of an energy shift. The score wasn't indicative, and I want to point somebody out in that third quarter. Now, this guy gets a lot of flack, a ton, and I'm not saying that doesn't deserve it. But my goodness, Chris Middleton, whatever your opinion is of this guy in the regular season, just take it, mush it around in your brain, grab it and throw it in the garbage because it doesn't matter. Every single big bucket that the Miami had going into nearing the end of that third quarter, Chris Middleton answered 10 points in that third quarter. And it felt like more than that, honestly. But when I looked it up, he did only have 10 points only in that third quarter, but he only finished with 22 points. So you're talking about almost 50% of what he scored coming in that third quarter. Again, a very, very important third quarter just out of getting that crowd back into their seats and shutting them up. Gotta love the free throw. Apparently there's a free throw clock on TNT. I don't watch TNT if it's on Bally Sports. I would love to listen to Jim Paschke and legendary Marcus Johnson over. I honestly don't even know who's calling it on TNT, so I really don't care. But I saw somebody put on Twitter that they had a free throw clock, and only against Giannis would that ever happen, because God forbid anybody does anything to LeBron or KD or whoever, James Harden. So again, as we are in Milwaukee and as Bucks fans, we're used to it. We'll take it and we'll run with it, and that's fine, and we'll use it as our own little bit of motivation. But ending into that third quarter, Middleton, like I was just saying, just hit big shot. It felt like big shot after big shot after big shot. Guys, look, Miami Heat was hitting shots. A couple guys were coming off the bench for Miami, and it was just, they threw a punch, then the Bucks threw a punch. It felt like Miami went on their run, You were like, if you weren't looking at the score and you were just watching the game and feeding off of your own eyes, you were thinking like, okay, maybe Miami's making a run. And then you look at the scoreboard and the Bucks are up more than they were when they came out. I don't know. It's just a talent deficiency against the two teams. Obviously, on paper, we know this team is better. Here's the thing. I don't think Bucks fans, and myself included, I'm not any better than you guys, or some of you guys are probably better than me. I didn't think when you went out and got Jrue Holiday, I knew it was going to be big. I knew it was going to be better. But I don't think we realized the defensive upgrade. And Eric Bledsoe was an all NBA defensive player. He was a good defensive player. But Jrue Holiday is different. Guys, he can guard. He was guarding Bam in the post, guys. He's checking Jimmy Butler. I know Jimmy Butler had a better game this time around. His best game of the series, he scores 19 points in almost 40 minutes. So I guess congratulations to Jimmy Butler, with one of the better games of his career, of this series. But again, it felt like Miami went on that run. J Dubs drops another comment. Can't believe the Heat didn't come out with more energy and give that game 3. Exactly. I'm with you, man. It felt like you knew, like, my points going into this game. And if you guys don't follow the show on Twitter, please do, at Brew City Pod. my 3 points were, and let me grab my Twitter and bring them up. They were obviously, you got to hit your shots. That was one of them. Giannis is going to draw a crowd. You got to hit your shots. It's going to be important to obviously hit your shots. But a couple of them, again, control the offense and defensive rebounds. You do not want the Miami Heat to get second chance points. Bam lives under there. He's going to, consistently grab garbage that anybody else is missing and get it in there. And I'll get to Brook Lopez. If there's a knock on Brook Lopez, then we'll talk about that. But he kind of I don't want to say he drove me nuts today, but he did kind of annoy me tonight in a couple other possessions. But so my keys to tonight that I put it on Twitter: withstand that first quarter run. I was wrong right there, I guess. J Dubs drops a comment. It's got me dying right now. Go sell more coffee, Jimmy. This ain't the bubble, baby. This ain't the bubble. So my 3 points were withstand that first quarter run. Miami's best shot will come early. That's what I put. And that's what I really thought. And we can break down the fourth quarter. I think we pretty much know what happened. The Bucks just ran away with it. Jeff Teague was in there. You figured Miami would make a little bit of run in that fourth quarter. Again, when they did, the Bucks just countered. Again, the Bucks win big time. 113-84 was not even close. Really, any point in this game. I think the closest it got to was like 8 or 9, and I think it was still in that first quarter. And after that, I think maybe early second quarter, and then obviously after that, it was just an onslaught. Bucks taking the game, going up the series 3-0. But my 3 points to the game were, going back to it, withstand that first quarter run. You knew that. I should say but maybe I didn't know, and maybe the Bucks are just that much better than this Miami Heat team. But I figured going into a series down 2-0, playing at home in front of a sellout crowd. According to Miami, it was a sellout crowd. It was not an empty seat. You knew the crowd was going to be into it. You knew that first quarter was going to be a run. There was going to get in my opinion, I thought you would got Miami's best shot. I figured that was going to be the first 5 to 7 minutes. I believe I texted my buddy Jake, and I believe it was going to be that first couple of minutes into that game that you were going to get Miami's best punch. Now, whether it was going to be a close game or Miami would be winning, you knew that there was going to be some type of run. At least I thought there was going to be. That didn't happen. Obviously, the Bucks closed out that first quarter up 12 points, I believe. 26-14. So my number 2 point was control the rebounds. You don't want to let this team get easy second chance points. And looking at it, the Bucks outscored the Miami Heat. It's a key point. Now it's an easy point. You can say, well, of course, control the rebounds, control the assists, control the clock. Don't be easy stuff with the turnovers. But Dwayne Dedmon had almost a double-double in game 3. Bam Adebayo, as much as he's been struggling, which I don't understand. Maybe it was. I thought Bam was. I thought, to me, he was a guy that I don't want to say I feared, but I was worried about going into this series. Total rebounds, the Bucks out rebound the Miami Heat 55-42. That is absolutely monster. 10 offensive rebounds for your Milwaukee Bucks. That's huge. I believe 2 of them came on one possession. I don't think the Bucks scored on that possession, but nonetheless, winning that was huge. And then my 3rd point was guys got to hit shots. It's easy. It's a key point that we can make about any game, but this is what and how the Milwaukee Bucks thrive on getting guys and getting teams to surrender. Now you can say that the Heat, they fought to the end. The Heat were done at the end of that third quarter. The game was over. But guys got to hit their shots. The Bucks did pretty darn good. Not as good as game 2, but I don't think you're going to really shoot 42% from 3-point range throughout the course of a game. The Bucks did shoot 36.1%. They did hit 13 out of 36 threes. So that's good. That's pretty good. I can't complain about that. They kept the Miami Heat to a 28% 3-point percent range from 9 out of 32. So again, you winning the area and where you need to win. Shoot better than the other team. Yes, it's common sense. Yes, people on Twitter will call me stupid. Of course you need to shoot better. I know that. But this is how teams beat the Milwaukee Bucks. If you've been watching the Milwaukee Bucks for more than a few weeks, you know that the way the Bucks lose are one of two things. Number one, they shoot cold, and we've seen it. So again, one of my keys was to shoot really good, at least hit your shots. Again, they did that. The way the Milwaukee Bucks lose, they don't hit shots. The other team outshoots them at a historic rate. Again, that's not happened at one point in this series. May it happen against Brooklyn? Maybe, but nonetheless, as far as this series has progressed, it has not happened. That is why the Bucks are up 3-0. The Bucks shot the crap out of the ball from the field goal side, outside, inside the 3-point line, shooting almost 50%, hitting 43 shots out of 89. Again, huge. That is absolutely huge. Miami only shot 37%. Again, there's your difference. Control the rebounds, hit your shots. Don't let them get second chance points. Giannis is going to get his. He's always going to get his. It's going to be a struggle at times. Sometimes he's going to go through that period. He did finish with 17 points, but he had 17 rebounds. Now, that's the key. 17 rebounds. Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton coming off the bench, combining for 20 points. Tip my cap to those guys. Again, we put a lot of slander out on Pat Connaughton, but the guy hit 2 out of 3 threes. I mean, he's seems to be on those long offensive rebounds. Pat Connaughton seems to be sliding in there and grabbing those boards. So kudos to the bench. I don't think there really was much scoring outside of Bryn Forbes, but again, he did slide into that starting role to start the third quarter. We hope nothing serious out of Dante DiVincenzo. Bryn Forbes finished the game with 11 points. Again, your leading scorer was Chris Middleton, 22 points. Jrue Holiday right behind him at 19 points. Again, 12 assists, absolutely huge, facilitating that offense. And it's a huge difference when Jrue Holiday is not running the offense. You can just feel a different vibe, a different sense of urgency. Jrue Holiday is so important to this team. And I don't want to say he's the most important, and I'm going to get your guys' opinion here in a minute, but he's probably right behind Giannis. If there was any question about who was the number 2 guy, again, I don't think it matters. Some people out there were asking me, whatever, Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, I don't care. They both do 2 different things. They're not the same type of player. In fact, the big 3 are all different. We know kind of what Brooklyn's, big 3, James Harden and Kevin Durant are scorers. They're going to score, and they kind of do it in the same way. They get to the line a lot. They shoot a lot of threes. Giannis, Jrue, and Chris couldn't be any different. Each one of them is a little bit different. So it's good to see Jrue Holiday have 12 assists. Again, game 2, he had 15 assists. So again, it was encouraging to see. I do want to get some of your guys' thoughts. Again, if you are tuning in, this is the Brew City Lounge special edition show, post-game show. I want to make it as interactive as possible. If you guys want to jump on, shoot me a message. Adam, I see your message. If you still want to jump on, shoot me another comment. I'll get you on here in a second. But again, interactive post-game. This is a post-game for the Bucks fans, by the Bucks fans. I'm obviously a huge Bucks fan. You guys follow me on Twitter. You know how I feel about this team. We're going to get to a couple of your comments real quick. Jake drops in a comment. Miami's confidence is gone. That's why there was no punch. We have beaten them by 30-plus points 3 times this year. They look like us last year, defeated and ready to go home. I can't disagree with you. I still think it goes 5. I don't want to sit here and say the Bucks are going to lose game 4 after winning again in game 3 by a monster amount of points. But the Bucks, I do not trust at day games. They for some reason just never really seem to come to day games ready to play. Not ready to play, I guess. They just seem off early and for long extended periods of time. Game 1 was the only game of this series that it was close, and it was a 1:00 tip. So it kind of worries me a little bit, especially being down in Miami. And look, Miami's gonna have nothing to lose. So you just hope the Bucks come out of that game healthy and Miami's not doing anything dirty. But let's get to a couple other your guys' comments. My dad Kendall drops in a comment. I said it before the playoffs started, and I'll say it again: sweep. He has been saying, I can verify that he has been saying that this is going to be a sweep. Still, like I just said, I think it goes 5. I hope it's a sweep, but I would not be surprised if the Bucks did close it out in game 5 in Milwaukee. But again, let's go for this sweep. I couldn't agree. Jay Jubbs drops another comment. Bledsoe can't shoot from the outside of the paint. That's the thing. And I don't want to take credit for it, because somebody called in to the radio station that I listened to, and they made up a great point. They said everybody in the offseason in 2019, excuse me. Even we're talking about the offseason because it also happened in the bubble. So the last 2 years, the last two postseasons for the Milwaukee Bucks, the caller said that the people think that the wall was built for Giannis. And in a sense, it was. Obviously, he's one of the most dominant players in the post, and obviously you want to defend him. But they brought up a good point and something you never really thought about. The wall was also built for Eric Bledsoe because as J-Dubs makes a comment, he says, Bledsoe couldn't shoot outside the paint. That bubble was also built to stop the likes of Eric Bledsoe because Eric Bledsoe could drive. He was a bulldog. He's a tough dude, but he could not score from the outside of the paint. So really, when it came down to it, you're closing 2/5 of your offense down, maybe 3/5 if you include Brook Lopez. And if there is a negative to take away from this game, it's probably Brook Lopez. I'll get to it in a minute if I write myself a note down here and remind myself. But I think that having that wall closed with Eric Bledsoe and Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Miami Heat in 2020, obviously, and then if you go back to 2019 with the Toronto Raptors, they shut that Bucks offense down. Stalemate. I mean, there was just nothing. You could tell when it got into the half-court set, there was nothing. That ball was spinning around until they found an open look, and if they didn't find an open look, they were throwing up a shot as a 24-second clock expired. So, yeah, I think that wall was also built for Eric Bledsoe, and it's something to think about. And it got me thinking today how much different. And we already knew that. We already knew that. Look, we already knew the upgrade with Jrue Holiday over Eric Bledsoe was big time. Obviously, Jrue Holiday can create his own shot. Jrue Holiday can penetrate. Jrue Holiday can hit a contested shot. I mean, he hit a couple of them today. I don't know exactly what he was, from the three-point line. I do remember a few big ones at key moments. But that was something that we didn't have out of Eric Bledsoe. It was something that we were consistently missing with Eric Bledsoe. And no offense to Eric Bledsoe. Look, we went to the Eastern Conference Finals game series, and we were up 2-0. Probably should have went to the finals, and eventually I won the finals. So we're not knocking any former Bucks on here. If I'm going to knock somebody, and I hate to do it because I love the guy, it's going to be Brook Lopez tonight. Now, if there's going to be a bad mark on this team, I think, unfortunately, it would have to be Brook. Now, there's a few times, really, anytime Brook Lopez is trying to create his own shot, I don't think that Mike Budenholzer is utilizing him in the right way. And now I get it. He's a big dude. He takes an extra defender out of that paint for Giannis. But for whatever reason, why on God's green earth, that is Brook Lopez spinning from the three-point line, trying to hit a fadeaway jumper at 7 foot tall. You'll never be able to justify it to me. Now, maybe I'm a little bit with the old school, the 7-footer should be down on the block. And I had John McLaughlin on my regular Brew City Lounge podcast show. And I kind of asked him one of the same questions, and he kind of laughed because he said if a 7-footer in his day was shooting from beyond the arc, they probably wouldn't be playing anymore. So I know the game has evolved a lot. Obviously, you want guys to be able to hit shots. The game has transitioned to an outside shooter's game, but get Brook Lopez down on the block. And when he catches the ball, Brook Lopez, please, why are we going? You're 7 feet tall. Why are you going from here up to your chest, up to your head, and dropping down below your waist? Keep that ball up high. I'm not an NBA. I'm not a coach. I don't know basketball more than the next person, but I don't understand what the guy is doing when it comes to catching the ball down low. He drops his head down. He drops his shoulders down. And then obviously you got 3 or 4 guys scrapping for the ball out of his hands. And it's just frustrating to watch because if he catches the ball high and he keeps it high, I mean, there's not many players that are able to, guard him with his size and his length. So if there is a knock on there, I guess that would be the one knock on the game. You kind of want to see a better game out of Brook Lopez. Now, he did pretty good. He finished with 13 points and 5 rebounds. Now, 5 rebounds for Brook Lopez is pretty darn good, to be honest with you, especially with Bam Adebayo and Dwayne Dedmon in the game, who are just hogs when it comes to rebounding the ball. So obviously you want to see a little bit more offensive play from Brook Lopez when it comes to either shooting threes in the corner, spinning and making fadeaways. But again, nonetheless, I'll take 13 points out of Brook Lopez to go with 5 rebounds. And I don't mean to knock the guy. I don't want to take anything negative from the guy, but I do want to get your guys' opinion on who is the MVP It's going to be a new segment with the post-game show here going forward. The most valuable buck, who in your opinion was the most valuable buck in this game? Who was the guy that you're going to give the game ball to? If you're on the live feed, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, at Brew City Pod, drop a comment. Let me know who your MVP is. Again, if you guys want to jump on here, you want to get on. If you want to get on for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, hey, let me know in the comments on the live feed. I'll send you a link, and we'll talk some Milwaukee Bucks. And then if you just want to get on real quick and just drop your 2-minute sentence or whatever it is you want to do, just let me know. I will shoot you the link. You are more than welcome to come on. Anybody is welcome to get on this show. I don't care where you guys are. If you're driving in the car, if you're leaving the arena, if you're down at the Deer District, if you're drunk at the bar, let me know and we'll get you guys on. So again, drop in the live comments if you're out on Twitter, out on Facebook, out on YouTube. I'm doing a little bit of a new segment with the MVB. Who is your most valuable buck in this game going forward? Who, in your opinion, was the player of the game is essentially what it is. So we'll get to those comments here in a minute. Again, guys, I know going into the series, and I had David Ramil from the Locked On Heat podcast, and he, again, if you don't follow Locked On Heat podcast as a Bucks fan, if you ever want to, get mad for no reason or laugh. Now, I guess you could laugh. Just go follow them on Twitter. Probably safe to say I don't know if I'll get anybody from Locked On Heat back on my show. He was on the show previously to the series starting. He did predict the Miami Heat to win in 6 games. Ladies and gentlemen, that prediction is not going to happen, unfortunately, for him. Fortunately for us, I believe it's going to happen in 4 or 5 games. I was quoted as saying 5. I think I'll probably stick with 5, maybe give Miami 1, but I think they're defeated. Jake dropped in a few comments earlier and said that, if that was their best punch, and again, game 3 was probably their best punch, it wasn't really even close. Again, but this credit, while we're enjoying these Bucks wins, and we should all enjoy them, they're all great wins. They're all phenomenal wins. You always want to win in the playoffs, and the Bucks for the last 2 games have won by a combined total of like 60 points. But again, we have to give credit, guys, where credit is due. It's important that we understand that this team went from Sterling Brown, Kyle Korver, who's now no longer in the NBA, Marvin Williams, no longer in the NBA, DJ Wilson, Wes Matthews, and now we've upgraded to Bryn Forbes, who had a monster game in game 2, coming off the bench, scoring 22, had 9 tonight. Bobby Portis, who had 11 tonight. PJ Tucker, arguably, when the trade was announced in the middle of the season, kind of was like, whatever. PJ Tucker wasn't playing a whole lot of minutes down in Houston. Houston was a little bit of a mess. We've been calling for PJ Tucker for a little bit now in Milwaukee as Bucks fans. We knew what that trade was for PJ Tucker. It wasn't about the regular season. People are out there complaining, oh my God, he only has 3 points per game, or he's averaging 2.3. Like, oh, what's this guy doing? PJ Tucker, ladies and gentlemen, newsflash. PJ Tucker is not here to score. He is here to steal Jimmy Butler's lunch, because that's all he's been doing. Shutting him down, locking him up. He's still in jail. Tyler Hero still on a milk carton. That's what this guy was here for. PJ Tucker is the real deal. He's that dude. He is that bully. You saw him tell Giannis, no, I want Jimmy. Right it was an inbound play before the Miami Heat got the ball from the official. PJ Tucker grabbed Giannis, said, I want Jimmy. That's a guy I want on my team. That's a dog. That's a guy going to do. He don't care about points. He's going to hit a corner 3. PJ Tucker finished with 5 points tonight, 3 rebounds. That's perfect. That's all we need from PJ Tucker offensively. Actually, that's probably more than enough. You don't think going against Brooklyn, Kevin Durant's not looking over his shoulder? Dang. He's got to see PJ Tucker, Drew Holiday, which he was quoted as saying is the best defensive player in the NBA, and Giannis. Again, credit the front office. Give John Horst the credit that he deserves. We are so quick, and I'm guilty with you guys, but we are so quick to knock these front office guys and Mike Budenholzer for either not going out and making improvements roster wise, or not going out and grabbing guys off the buyout market. By the way, Jeff Teague, we've been calling for Jeff Teague for probably 10 years, it feels like. He played tonight, not much, but, he played 5 minutes. So you upgraded. You got rid of Sterling Brown. You got Bryn Forbes. Automatically increased your scoring and your shooting. Kyle Korver, for whatever reason, couldn't throw a beach ball in the ocean if he was standing in front of it last year. Bryn Forbes is hitting these shots. Now, again, Mike Budenholzer took a lot of credit last year. The same looks that Bryn Forbes is getting this year, the same shots that Bryn Forbes is knocking down, Kyle Korver had the same looks last year. He just couldn't hit them. Just wasn't very good at all. Marvin Williams, great career for the both of those guys. They just weren't hitting those same shots that guys like Pat Connaughton, again, another guy that this fan base loves to jump on because of the deal he signed in the offseason. First off, good for you, Pat, for grabbing that money. Number two, he's hitting his shots. He was 3 from 4 in game 2. Tonight, he was 2 from 3. 9 points off the bench is more than enough for a guy like Pat Connaughton. The bulk of your scoring off the bench is going to come from guys like Bobby Portis and Bryn Forbes. I'm okay with Pat Connaughton coming off the bench and grabbing me 9 points, hitting big shots. He's been great. He's been shooting over 40%, guys, from the three-point range. That's phenomenal. If I had a list for guys that he's been shooting better, you wouldn't believe it. Really. It's okay to give this front office and give Mike Budenholzer his credit. Because, yes, he's got the better team on paper. Yes, he has the 2-time MVP. Yes, he has Jrue Holiday and Chris Middleton. Yes, all of that is true. But he's also making changes to this rotation. We wanted to see this. We wanted to see guys lighten up, shorten that rotation. You wanted to see Giannis get over 30 minutes. Tonight he had, Chris Middleton, Jrue Holiday, and Giannis Antetokounmpo all finished with 34 minutes. Giannis is like at a little bit under 34, but they all were in that 34-minute range. And at no point were one of them or were all of them off the court at the same time. At least one or all or two at one point were all on the court. That's different. That's an adjustment, guys. That's an adjustment. And credit to Mike Budenholzer for making that adjustment, for taking what he learned from 2019 and 2020, throwing it out the window, whoever was telling him to do it, and changing it. The same thing goes for the defensive side. So many times, really, you could go back to the regular season. We're seeing the opposing team and just name team whoever setting the pick and roll and the Milwaukee Bucks going underneath the screen. And then the shooter taking a step back, being wide open for a shot. That's changed in the playoffs so far because Mike Budenholzer has made that defensive adjustment. They're going over that screen, especially when guys like Dragic, who shoots left-handed. Duncan Robinson has not been a factor at all outside of game 1. Game 1 was probably the Duncan Robinson game that you're going to get probably for the rest of maybe the playoffs as far as, going out and imposing his will early. I believe he had 9 points in like the first 5 minutes of that game. At least it felt like it. So again, Bucks win big time, 113-84. Was not close outside of maybe the first few minutes. It got closer in the second quarter. The Bucks ended up extending that lead to 13, And it, again, felt like the Bucks should have been up by 30, 40 points in that game. And then they ended up winning by 29 points. Another big blowout from the Milwaukee Bucks. But again, I want your guys' opinion on who the MVP of this game is. Who is your most valuable Buck? We'll get to a few of your comments here. J Dubs drops a comment. JYD, Junkyard Dog. There's one. Let's see if anybody follows up. Kendall does follow up with a Jrue Holiday vote. Jake drops comment. Mid, like you said earlier, his third quarter was any run being attempted. He answered right back. If I had to go with one, Jake, I'm going with Khris Middleton, but this is your guys' show. I want your opinions. I do agree with Jake. I said it earlier. Anytime that the Miami Heat did go on a run, it felt like it just felt like Khris Middleton came back and answered. There was 2 plays, specifically 2 3-pointers. Goran Dragic, and I believe it was Tyler Hero. Yes, Tyler Hero. They both hit threes on the other side of the court. Khris Middleton comes down and he answered. Really, I don't even think 5-6 seconds into the play clock, and Khris Middleton answered with a big 3. So again, if you're on the live feed, if you're on YouTube, you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, first off, thank you so much for tuning in to the Brew City Lounge live post-game show. If you missed anything earlier, I did put out, if you guys ever want to jump on here, even if it's only for 30 seconds, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't care. Shoot me a message. Follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. You can add me on Facebook. I'm in all the Bucks groups and Brewers groups. You can add me on there and let me know, hey, I want to come on after this game, whatever. We'll work it all out. You guys are all more than welcome to jump on it at any point. Again, Bucks win big time, 113-84. I do intend doing these post games. I'm not sure about Saturday just because I did forget that it was Memorial Day weekend. So I do believe I had planned. So I'll put that out on Twitter if I do not plan on doing a post game show. But follow the show on Twitter, on Facebook. Do not forget, please, at Brew City Pod. I'm just asking everybody out there that's listening live on the live feed, who is your game ball go-to? I call it the MVB, the most valuable buck. I want your guys' comments. Drop them in the live feed. We got a vote for the Junkyard Dog. We got a vote for Khris Middleton. I want your guys' answer. I'm going to go with Khris Middleton. That's my personal vote. I feel like, again, him being able to counter with any punch that the Miami Heat went on was just extremely important, especially in that third quarter. Not that the Miami Heat were coming in and getting close to that game, but it just, Middleton, again, 10 points in that third quarter was just, it felt like way more than that. It was just, he shot any momentum down that the Miami Heat were grabbing, any energy in the crowd. It just felt like Khris Middleton put him back in their seats, kind of where they belong. I'm so tired of the Miami Heat. I'm ready to just shove them out the door. I'm so tired of hearing about the bubble. Look, LeBron, I know you're still recovering from your shoulder injury. I hope you're doing okay. You can take that fake championship against the Miami Heat, and you guys can enjoy that little bubble run. Again, like I said at last show, credit to the NBA for putting on the bubble, whatever you want to call it. It's a fake championship. It's fake. The bubble was garbage. Obviously, this Miami Heat team is exposed. I don't care if you don't have Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's not shooting 40% from three like he did again. 43% from the three like he did against the Milwaukee Bucks. Just watch him when he's playing against the Lakers tonight. He's not hitting anything like he was in the bubble. It was a fake championship from the beginning. We heard all offseason from these freaking Miami Heat fans how Giannis is coming to Miami, how Giannis is going to be in South Beach, and he's going to take his talents to South Beach. Look, the only talents he's taking to South Beach are to sweep your ass going into Game 4. We don't care. I'm over the Miami Heat. I'm over their fan base. I'm over who they think they are. Whatever you guys had with the big three, you bought your championships, obviously, with LeBron and Chris Bosh earlier. You did win one in 2006. I guess I'll give you that one, whatever. Nobody cares. But again, Heat fans walking out of the arena with the 6-minute mark. I bet that feels good, Miami. I mean, because Milwaukee fans are enjoying it. Really, we are. We're enjoying it. Hearing your mouth all offseason talk about this Milwaukee Bucks team, talk about how you're going to come up here and take Giannis from us, and whatever your reporter name is in Miami. I don't even know her name. I don't even know if she's a real reporter talking about she has sources about LeBron. Giannis is all but Miami deal is done. Yeah, no, I'm over Miami. I'm ready. And I've texted it to a couple of friends. I put it on Twitter. There's blood in the water. Put your foot on their freaking throats. Shut them up for the offseason. Let them go out and get Kawhi, because you know that's what Pat Riley's going to try to do. He's not done. He's going to make that another run with Jimmy Butler on that team. But Jimmy Butler is getting up there in age. I believe he's going to be 33 this year. So Jimmy Butler is no spring chicken. J Dubs drops another comment. Again, bro, thank you so much for tuning in. You want to jump on here, let me know. Don't forget, he says, don't forget Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk, for whatever reason, is just another one of those Bucks killers. Like, Goran Dragic just hits every shot, it feels like, except tonight, probably because he had Drew Holiday on him. But Kelly Olynyk is always a thorn in the side. It feels like the dude just never, can miss, and he hits big shot after big shot, and he just kind of annoys the hell out of me as a Bucks fan. But a couple notes out of here. We got about 5 minutes before I'm going to get out of here. Look, guys, this is not a coincidence. I know that, the regular season, and we're looking at, this Bucks team and the 27th ranked defense, and what are they going to do come playoff time defensively? You're seeing it. Miami had 36 points, ladies and gentlemen, at halftime, at home, in a must-win Game 3. 36 points. 36. That's not the Miami Heat struggling to shoot. And if they're struggling to shoot, it's because PJ Tucker is stealing Jimmy Butler's lunch. Or Jrue Holiday is taking your lunch money, however you want to word it, whatever phrase you want to use. Look, arguably, this is all relative. It's all an argumentative point. The Bucks on defense, at one point, they ran a stretch of Jrue Holiday, PJ Tucker, Giannis, Lopez, and Chris Middleton. I'm Homer. I'm biased. It's going to sound like this is crazy, but you could argue that all 5 of those guys, if they're not the best defensively at their position, they're probably within the top 5, maybe top 3 defensively. Giannis is the best big man in the NBA, defensively and offensively. I don't care what Gobert does in Utah. Garbage, trash. He's not on Giannis's level defensively. Giannis is the best big man, best two-way big man in the NBA. He's the 2-time MVP for a reason in small market Milwaukee. Jrue Holiday, you guys already know how I feel about. He is the best two-way guard in the NBA. You could also make the argument, period. I think Giannis obviously is a little bit better than Jrue. But hey, that's a great problem to have and a great argument to have if both your guys are going against each other. Brook Lopez, who again, he got a lot of flack for his offense, and I just ragged on him for his offense. But defensively, Brook Lopez is a big piece defensively. Giannis said it last year when he won the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year award. He would not have won it without Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is that dude defensively. He covers everybody's back. Again, he's a big piece of this team defensively, especially. And then PJ Tucker. We all know why we went out and got PJ Tucker. We all know PJ Tucker bullies Jimmy Butler. I don't care how ripped Jimmy Butler is. I don't care if he's dating Selena Gomez or whatever the hell he's doing, playing checkers down in South Beach, whatever he does. PJ Tucker, he's got to ask PJ Tucker for permission on anything that he does, because that PJ Tucker is that dude. A bully. Arlen is out on YouTube. He drops a comment. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you watching. Thank you for tuning in. I hope I see you on here again. He drops in a comment. People who have paid attention to the moves, the Bucks are not surprised. This team is much better this year and have done a lot of experimenting this year in preparation for the playoffs. Amen. Bro, absolutely. That's a huge point and such a good point to make, because you're absolutely right. People that have paid attention to these moves, again, with the Jrue Holiday over the Eric Bledsoe upgrade, obviously you go out and get PJ Tucker. You're talking about Bryn Forbes and Bobby Portis over Sterling Brown and Kyle Korver and Marvin Williams. Sprinkle a little Jeff Teague in there. Arlen is completely right. And if I'm mispronouncing your name, I do apologize. They are absolutely right that the moves that the Bucks have have gone under the rug. I think, in my opinion, throughout the NBA. I don't think the NBA really cared that the Bucks got Jrue Holiday. Apparently they cared when the Bucks went and got Bogdan Bogdanović, but that's another argument for another day. But that they make a great point. Yes, they have been experimenting throughout the year. We saw that the Bucks were the number one team. They were switching more than any other team in the NBA. And why was that in the regular season? They're experimenting. Arlen makes a great point. They're experimenting. They want to know what difference it's going to make if they're switching, if they're, going under the screen, going over the screen. Yes, they're going to give up a lot of points maybe this game, but they're going to learn, for the playoffs, and we're seeing it now. I mean, the Miami Heat scored 84 points, guys, at home in a must-win game. They had 36 at halftime. I mean, the credit goes to this Milwaukee Bucks team. I mean, it just does. The defensive part of this team, yes, you could sit there and be like, well, Duncan Robinson is shooting under 30%. And Tyler Hero, real quick, because he's a local guy. Some people love him, whatever. I don't necessarily care for him. I love the little mug that he had that my 12-year-old son puts on when he plays football. But, I'm talking about his mug in the finals where he ended up losing against LeBron James. I think that these guys and this team, again, and I said it previously, the credit goes to Mike Budenholzer. If we're going to credit, he's out coaching Eric Spoelstra in this series. And I do think that's a huge point. I did make that point again, not to toot my own horn. My 3 keys to a Bucks series win. My number 1 point was Eric Spoelstra versus Mike Budenholzer. Who adapts and how do they adapt? And obviously Mike Budenholzer, without question, has outcoached Eric Spoelstra, a championship winning coach in Eric Spoelstra. So, but Arlen he's out there watching from Canada. Thank you so much. I appreciate anybody who listens, especially out in Canada. I do so greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. That does not go unnoticed, but Arlen they make a good point. Yes, these moves have gone under the rug. The Bucks were experimenting a lot in the regular season. We didn't necessarily know what they were going to have come playoff time, and right off the bat, a lot of people picked the Miami Heat to beat the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Milwaukee Bucks have completely, outside of Game 1, again, probably their worst shooting game that they've had all year, arguably, have dominated this series, and I don't think that they're going to let up. I hope that they sweep the Miami Heat in 4 games, but my opinion, I think Miami probably sneaks a win in Game 4, but we'll see on Saturday. Again, stay tuned for post-game update. I'm not sure if I'll be doing one on Saturday due to the holiday. I think I have plans, but if I'm not, I will be right here with you guys. We're got to get to our MVB, and based on the comments, we're going to go with majority rules here. That's how we're going to go and roll with this from here on out. The most valuable Buck for Game 3 in the first round in the 2021 NBA playoffs goes to none other than Chris Middleton, who finished the game as the Bucks' leading scorer. Big shots in the third quarter. Again, like I said previously, finished with 10 points in that third quarter. So we are going to roll with Chris Middleton as the most valuable Buck for tonight in a pretty much game-sealing victory series victory for the Milwaukee Bucks as they go up 3 games to none. That will do it for tonight's post-game show. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're out there on Facebook, if you're out there on Twitter, if you're out there on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I have a live show tomorrow at 2:00. We're going to preview the Milwaukee Brewers with the guys from Reviewing the Brew. So that'll be a fun show to talk Brewers and celebrate tonight, Milwaukee. Enjoy tonight. The Brewers win in extras. The Bucks win big time. They shut Miami up. The crowd is leaving early during that game. That was just phenomenal to see. You just love to see these bubble guppies get shut up in that crappy fan base down in Miami. So if you guys are out on the live feed, thank you so much. J-Dubs, Arlen, my dad, Kendall, Jake, Adam, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all the interaction and all the comments. It means so much to me. Go Bucks, go Brewers. If you're driving around, leaving the bar, or whatever you're at doing, drive home, get home safe. I do appreciate the support and having you guys tune in. I will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. And real quick, if you guys are Bucks fans, you're on the feed right now, so I know you're Bucks fans. Check out the show at Brew City Pod on Twitter or Facebook. Also on Spotify, Apple, and Google. 2 days ago, I had a live show. I had an hour-long conversation with Bucks legend John John McLaughlin. You got to check that out, man. If you're a Bucks fan, it's like going down memory lane. There's George Karl stories. There's Ray Allen stories, Kareem stories, Big O stories. I mean, all kinds of cool stories. He talked to me for like an hour. So if you haven't subscribed to the show, jump on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out. John McLaughlin was a must listen episode. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. Follow the show on Twitter and Facebook, and subscribe on YouTube at Brew City Lounge. I appreciate it. Go Bucks, go Brewers. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.